Hey, how's it going? So basically, normally you do selector this way. You see you have state. We select our... where's the store? Yeah, so shake and bake, which targets the reducer. Well, it targets the slice, right? And then from there you have access to initial state, which is this one here. Now, there is a second way to do it. Yeah, so let's do count. So you need to go into the slice where you want to create a selector. So it's literally called createSelector, believe it or not, right? So the first thing you do is called const target self, right? You can do it this way, or should we do target self? Select self, I think, is more... What do they have in documentation? Let me see, one sec. Select self, yeah. So select self is the way they do it. Okay, so select self is equal to state is any, because we're using TypeScript, and then we want state dot, right, dot, and then which do we want to target, which is going to be count selector. So it's going to be shake and bake. Shake and bake, right? So do you remember, like, this thing is exactly the same as this thing here, you see? Use selector, state, and then state, shake and bake. So we're effectively copying this part into here. Literally just copy and paste. Okay, so now this self selector is selecting this slice here. So now we want a selector. So let's do const select count from store. Let's just do this. Now here we're using createSelector hook. Now the first argument is select self, this thing here. That's the first argument. The second argument is going to be state. So now state refers to basically identical to what this state is. Well, it's basically, I don't know how to say, but now this block of code has now transformed into a single word, which is state. So when you are using this state here, it refers to this block of code. This block of code here. So you are targeting effectively this slice, right? And we want to target initial state, which is gonna be count from store. So now state dot count from store. Now it is convention to call this guy select, right? Like, for example, it is convention to call these guys set. Like, this is incorrect word. This is incorrect. Like, increment is incorrect. You should say set count, increase count. Set, increase count. Something like that, right? So there are setters and then there are getters, right? But like in here we're doing selectors, right? So this is a selector. So now obviously we need to export it. So we're gonna export it, right? So this is your selector created. And then we go to our thingy, to our component, and then we want to import this thing, which is gonna go here. You don't really need this thing, but I mean, whatever, we're just gonna have it in here. Select count, store, okay. Whoops. And now we basically, yeah, so we just do const count2 is equal to use selector. You still need to use selector. And then we just put this thing into it, and then that's it. It's done. Like the whole concept of this thing is just to have, basically you want to put this code, you see this code, basically we are moving it to the slice and converting it into a variable which is called selector. And then, as opposed to having this gigantic block of code in here, we are just putting a single statement, and then that's about it. And now we can, you see, now we can console log it. You will see that it's going to work. Test. We're gonna call it as a test. Oi, 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 oi. Count 2 is gonna go here. So you see, we can see the value is being... So this is count, and this is count 2. You see they're just synchronized because they're the same thing. We can actually, you see this count is a selector, so we can actually remove it. And then just put count 2 in here. Like so, and it's going to do the same thing. Because it makes no difference, like realistically speaking, it just makes no difference whatsoever, which way you're doing it. Because like when you're using this way, literally all you're doing is porting this long code into your selector, and that's it. So it's more like a packaged deal, I suppose. It's a little bit more confusing, but like then you're gonna start thinking, oh my god, you know, if I have like bazillion stores with a lot of counts, how am I going to manage all of this? Because the names are gonna look the same, right? So one way of doing that is, well, first of all, you're going to have, you can see it that it's coming from slice, count slice, right? That's one way of doing it. Or you can do it like this as well. As you can import and then rename it as count slice count. I know it's a shit name, but I mean whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So now you can just use it in here like this. Selector or whatever, selector. But you get what I'm saying. Like you can kind of, you can rename it, you know what I mean? So you can put like any name into it. So okay, and it's still going to work, right? Okay, I'm gonna push this code so you can see the selectors as well, and it's gonna be in the Git repo below. And then also I updated my toolkit. Yeah, so in my previous kind of series, well, not series, but whatever, I've done the guide, so it's gonna be here. Alternative way to create selectors, right? So just FYI, you can do it this way as well. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.